Hey guys, I thought we would talk a little bit about how to set up your training space. And many of you right now are training at home. Going forward, if you're serious, you want to have a spot where you can train outside of the school. So let me show you how to set up your spot. And there is like a hierarchy of requirements here, and it's pretty easy to get a functional thing going. In fact, all you need is space. Right, so that's the first thing you want to establish is, do you have enough space, a 10 by 10 area with a not too short ceiling. Basements sometimes are a little rough for that because you might have a drop ceiling that's low, and then you kind of flinch if you think about it. So I'd say a good spot it could be about 10 by 10 or bigger with a ceiling you don't have to worry about. And then heat is something you might have to think about. I've got, if you look up here, this is just a kind of infrared heater that raises the temperature in this garage by about 10 degrees. And that actually managed to make it possible to come out here and work out. Like if it was 10 degrees, it took it up to 20, wear a beanie, wear a sweatshirt or whatever. But if you are thinking garage, make sure that you do have a heating element, because you don't want whether or not you train to be based on like weather considerations, right? You want to have a spot that's consistently available to you. Okay, so space. Now the second one. So the first thing is, if you have a space, you're good. You can do most of what you want to do. But then I would think a little bit about flooring. Carpeting. Carpeting can be good. Think about the carpeting at the karate school. Having those mats that we can bring out and create like the giant mat. That is a good thing to have. But then also we have the hard floor with the carpet where you can pivot and turn and do some things like that. So I think that carpet can be good, but if you have plush carpet that you sink into, that can be not great for certain things. It can be slippery. I would be careful with carpet. If you have shoes on carpet, sometimes you can catch and twist your ankle or whatever, especially if it's deep. Wood you can scratch up, and you might need something softer than wood. What I've got in here, these are horse stall mats. I got these at I think it was Tractor Supply Company, and they are pretty good. They have a little bit of give. When they are wet, they might slip a little bit, so that I'm not thrilled with that. Other than that, they've been a great training surface. So I would just get yourself on good flooring, which might include having a mat. So space, flooring. Now number 3 has changed a little bit with technology. We used to say, and I think this is still very valid, a mirror could be your next requirement. Just to be able to check form and see how you're doing on things, a mirror is key. I don't have a mirror out here, but we do a lot of what we're doing right now, which is recording stuff. I've got my own personal video recorder, Juliet, behind the camera today. And that, I think, can be a good stand-in. And in some cases, it's even better. Like, you will notice stuff on a recording on your phone of yourself that you won't notice in the mirror. So I would go ahead and say a mirror or a spot, a good spot for your phone so you can record. Okay? This is probably a lot easier to do. I know I've found that it is. I don't really have space for a mirror here. Good spot to record and a good recording buddy. Okay, number 4, I'm going to say something to hit. Right? So martial artists want to develop power. It's really hard to develop power just hitting in the air. Because what happens is I go to hit, let's say I go to throw a punch in the air and I want to develop power, my punch has enough power, if it's unrestrained, to like snap my elbow and really hurt it. And so what happens is, as I start to throw this punch out, my bicep, the muscles that oppose the punch have to activate to start to decelerate that punch so I don't hurt that joint. But if I have a bag or a shield or something to hit, your brain sends a message to that opposing muscle group that says, now hold off on the deceleration, because that thing will do the decelerating for you. and so then you hit, and you actually hit much faster and in a more explosive way when you're hitting stuff. Plus, hitting stuff is just fun. So, and it's a great workout too. So, what should you get to hit? I think a lot of people go in for a cheap solution, thinking that they will have a partner, like they get a red square or a black bag. If you have somebody to consistently hold for you, that's okay. But I think that those things don't get used as much as people think they will. And so I would be going for a punching bag. And with punching bag, you've got two options. You've got the weighted floor base that is standalone. You can roll it out real conveniently, kind of roll it out. You just place it on the floor, beat it up, kind of roll it back wherever you want it. Usually put water or sand in the base. I think those are good. The old school hanging swinging bag is actually my preference. I think that the swinging of the bag teaches you a lot about timing, distancing, and good footwork. So I would, here Juliet, look up here. I would take a beam like this and get a little hook in there and buy a hanging bag. And you could still, it's a little bit more of a pain to move because you have to lift it off the hook and then you go like set it out in a corner. It's not as convenient, but I think that the training is better. So, okay, so that would be your fourth thing. You got a good space, you got the right flooring, you got a spot to record or a mirror, something to hit. All right, number 5, I would say get some highly efficient strength training equipment. So what do I mean by this? You could go out and spend like $5,000 on some monstrosity that is totally intimidating and has all the bells and whistles, and you could do that, but it would take up like half your training space or more, and it would be super expensive and not all that efficient in any imaginable way. What I like, if you were going to get one piece of strength equipment, I would get a kettlebell. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of kettlebells, but you find a weight that is good, and you can work all kinds of lower body, all kinds of upper body drills with a kettlebell. Just about every movement pattern that you need just to stay balanced and stay strong and help you with all the other physical things you want to pursue. You can build strength with a kettlebell, and it takes up like no room. And if you spend $50 on a real good one, and then you get so strong that you're not feeling that anymore, well, I'd say that's a pretty good investment. You go ahead and get another one, and there you go. So strength equipment. So imagine that. You got a little 10 by 10. You got a spot to record yourself. You got a real safe floor. You got a little bag in the corner that you can bring out. You can hang it up when you want to. And you got a good kettlebell or two. That's the one where you probably need some instruction that we don't do in class. Like you'd have to dig into that and figure out, okay, what's a safe way to use that kettlebell. And it could be a dumbbell. It could be something like that too. It'd be fine. And then there are all kinds of other training things that you could get. But if you were wanting to set up a martial arts gym and you didn't have those things, I don't think you should get anything else. That's where you want to start. All right, cool.